Toss aside the touchy-feely notions of love in business and recognize the real power it holds. Welcome to the Love is Just Damn Good Business podcast with host Steve Farber. Drawing on his work with a wide variety of companies from the Fortune 100 to smaller family-owned businesses, Farber shares inspiring interviews with business leaders and proven strategies for how you can create experiences that your customers will love by developing a culture that your employees, teammates, and colleagues love working in. Discover why and how love, at the end of the day, is just damn good business for you too. Here's your host, Steve Farber.
Hey, welcome to another episode of the Love is Just Damn Good Business podcast. I'm your host, Steve Farber, but you probably already knew that. What you may not know is that my guest today is the amazing Jesse Cole for his second appearance on the episode. You know, high level, Jesse is the co-owner with his wife, Emily, of the Savannah Bananas baseball team, who are right in the midst, I'm going to say, the early stages of blowing up. And the last time that Jesse and I talked on this podcast was 2 years ago. It was in April of 2020. And it was episode 18 of this podcast called The Three Loves of the Savannah Bananas. So I recommend everybody go and check that out because that's the whole background on the team and how it came to be, the origin story, as we like to call it nowadays. And I'm telling you, Jesse, I just went back and reviewed it. Not for the first time. I've reviewed it many times because I'm telling you, man, that was still to date the most enjoyable conversation interview I've had. I laughed pretty much nonstop. and I still do every time I listen to it. So let me set the context and I'm going to ask you to just catch us up on things. The time span between April 2020, when you were last on this show, and today is August 24th that we're having this conversation, 2022. To say that things have changed for you and for the Savannah Bananas is perhaps the understatement of the century. One of the last questions that I asked you, which was, and this was, you know, right in the pretty much the early days of the COVID, back in the early days of the COVID, you know, I asked you what your vision is for the future of the enterprise. And you said, we're going to bring the show on the road. We're going to do a world tour, even if it's just a one city world tour. And now that's exactly what you've done. Your show, your new book, Fans First, came out recently. Your show about the bananas called Banana Land came out on ESPN Plus recently, first episode, which was phenomenal. And you've got over 3 million followers on TikTok, which didn't exist the last time we talked, as far as I remember. So just catch me up, man. What has this ride been like for you? Where are you now? Where are you going? Tell us the story.
Well, you know, it's crazy. And Steve, thank you for all the kind words. I had a lot of fun. I remember that episode so much. And, you know, as I share with you, your book made a huge impact on me. You know, Love is Damn Good Business. And so I'm glad we were able to talk about that before. But yeah, I mean, everything's changed, but everything stayed the same. You know, I'm still just a kid trying to make his dad proud, you know, and now I have 3 kids. My wife and I are foster parents. And so we have 2 foster daughters and a baby. And so our life has been crazy over the last few years, but crazy good. And I think, you know, nothing's changed as far as our business in the sense of who we are and what we stand for. We are fans first through and through. It's who we are. It's what we talk about. It's every decision we make as fans first. And we have a big vision. We dream big. And so when we started sharing our vision more in 2020 during that challenging time, when you don't want to be in entertainment business, in a live entertainment business during the COVID, as you said.
Right.
And so we just said, you know, we're gonna try it. We're gonna figure it out and get through the messy to get to the great. And so yes, fast forward now, we've done the One City World Tour in 2021, went to Mobile, Alabama, sold 7,000 tickets in 24 hours. And then we went to 7 cities this past year, sold 70,000 tickets, sold out every stadium we went to, including 10,000 seat Rickwood in Birmingham, the oldest ballpark in America. ESPN came with us for 3 months, covered our whole behind the scenes. And yeah, the first episode just premiered on ESPN2, then going to ESPN Plus. We've had games on ESPN. And yeah, now 4 million social media followers. And you know, we just announced we're going all in on Banana Ball. So we've got calls from 5 major league teams that want us to bring Banana Ball to their stadium. We've even got calls from Cooperstown in the Hall of Fame. It's been absolutely wild. And the team has grown considerably, but we still talk about the same things. We still believe the same things, and we still have the time of our life. And we're surrounded by energy givers, people that just give energy and, you know, are all about what we're doing. And it's been a fun ride.
So for the uninitiated who have not yet been exposed to the experience that is the Savannah Bananas, give us the high level of what the team is about. I mean, I know it's hard to capture in a few words, but you're a great communicator. I know you can.
Since day one, we put on our website, we make baseball fun. We're trying to create the greatest show in sports and be the most fun team in baseball. So yes, our players do choreographed dances every game. We have players that come up to bat with their bat on fire. We have players in stilts. We have players that celebrate crazy celebrations. After they score a run, the whole team runs through the crowd, high-fiving everyone. We do more dancing and more singing than any sports team should ever do. We have a male cheerleading team, the Bananas. We have a breakdancing coach. We have a senior citizen dance team called the Bananas. Everything we do is to make baseball fun, and we've gone all in on that. And so we have, literally Ideapalooza sessions almost every day talking about what can we do today, this game, this week that we've never done before on a baseball field. And we have players now that they're actually practicing right in front of me before our games on ESPN this week. And they're literally practicing catching balls right now while doing backflips. So they're actually, the outfielders are working on doing backflips and catching it, which looks extremely dangerous, but one guy can do it pretty well. They're just trying to have fun. And that's how we started the game as kids. And Steve, I think you've seen this and you know this, but when you have fun, you perform better. And fun wins for us. And these guys have so much fun that they just play better and put on a great show.
And you guys have literally redefined the rules of the game in that experience that you call banana ball. So just quickly, what are the 9 rules of banana ball?
Yes. And
are there still just 9 or have you added more?
No, we amend a little bit. We haven't added much. You confuse, you lose. Keep it simple. 9 rules is enough. I don't want to have 37 rules and have a whole rule book. All right. So and this was literally back in 2017, 18. We started selling out games, from sleeping on an airbed to selling out games, building our wait list, which is crazily over 80,000 now for tickets. But we were watching our fans. Wow. It doesn't make sense. I don't understand it, to be honest with you. But our fans were leaving games early, constantly. They were leaving games early. So we said, well, what if we made a faster game? So we tested this in 2018, even before we talked, not before you. You're not 4 years old.
I was around, but yeah.
Yeah. Our 4-year-old running a great podcast as a 4-year-old, Steve. So, the rules are every inning counts. So if you win the inning, you get a point. So there's no blowouts. Every inning matters. And we have walk-off celebrations after every inning. There's a 2-hour time limit. So literally at 2 hours, the game is over. You can't step out of the batter's box. So hitters have to get ready to hit. If you step out of the batter's box, it's a strike. There's no bunting. Bunting sucks. If you bunt, you're thrown out of the game. And that has actually happened before. A guy didn't know it. He forgot the rule and he got thrown out of the game. There's no walks. Walks are boring. Think about this. We're playing an athletic sport. This play is called a walk. Just walk on over to first base. We eliminated that. And so the walks are called sprints. And so now on the 4th ball, the umpire goes, ball 4, sprint. And the hitter takes off full speed running to as many bases as he can get to, while the catcher has to throw the ball to every player on the field before it's live. Quick aside on that, the first 2 or 3 were like home runs. No one knew what to do. Now it's like this amazing weave where all the guys come in and we're throwing guys out at second. It's the most exciting play in baseball. Batters can steal first. Pick pitchers, throw strikes. You want to throw a ball in the dirt with no count, steal first. There's no mound visits. The slow walk out to the mound, that's boring. Get rid of that. And then finally, the end of the game is a one-on-one showdown. Pitcher versus hitter, and there's one fielder, and the hitter has to score. So it's like a penalty kick situation that determines a tie. That's where we are right now.
Let's talk about behind the scenes a little bit, because you guys, it sounds simple. Yeah, we did a one city world tour and then we took it a whole bunch of places. But you took the entire enterprise on the road, right? You had the Bananas. You had the team that they play against, the Party Animals. Is that right? Yeah. Did you guys travel together? Kind of like what the Harlem Globetrotters used to do with the Generals?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you had this whole enterprise that you took on the road. It seems to me that transition from playing in Savannah, even in the incredible, different and fun and entertaining way that you did with the rules of banana ball, et cetera, going from that to taking the whole enterprise on the road is a major deal, to say the least.
It's a radical leap, huh?
It is a radical leap. Nicely said. So tell us about that, about the kind of the decision process and then what the experience was like.
Herb Kelleher, when he started Southwest Airlines a few years into running Southwest Airlines, a reporter asked him, what's your business strategy? Thought about it for a second. He said, it's called doing things, and which I love. do and then learn. And so our whole mindset was we had no idea how to do that. I'm flattered by what people mean by the compliment of the Harlem Globetrotters. When the Globetrotters started, they changed basketball. They literally fundamentally changed basketball. They sold out Madison Square Garden 2 times in a day. They played in front of 75,000 people in Berlin. They had Wilt Chamberlain play for them. They were as big as it got. Unfortunately, it's changed a little bit since then, but we're a big difference than the Globetrotters. The Globetrotters travel with 30 people. We travel with 120. All right. So it's completely unscalable. But I believe sometimes you need to do the unscalable to do the scalable. We bring our entire pep band. Like a 12-person pep band comes on the road with us wherever we go, because we want the experience to be so remarkable, so magical that literally we open the stadium gates with a march. Our entire pep band, our male cheerleading team, our breakdancing coaches, our players on stilts, the players. We do this whole march in front of the 3,000, 4,000 fans that are waiting in line hours before the game just to set the tone for the experience. It makes no sense, but when you look at it, it makes complete sense. And so we're trying to create an experience where we spend $0 on marketing, but we spend everything on the experience. And we create these raving fans that are buying tickets all over the world, buying merchandise, hundreds of orders every single day all over the world. And I believe any business, you should focus more on creating raving fans than creating sales, revenue, and profits. We don't talk about that, but we talk every day on what can we do to create fans. Yeah. And so that's what we take on the road.
Well, I'm wearing the baseball cap.
You look good in it too, I'll tell you that.
Thank you. You say you brought your pep band with you, but didn't you also bring everybody that touches the fans in any way, like the people that sell the tickets and the concession people? And did you do all of the above?
No, the model we made is the venue does the food and bev. So they do all the food and bev experience. We do everything as far as, the tickets, the merchandise, and the show. So yes, we have all our ticket takers in full banana costumes, ripping your banana shaped tickets and scanning your banana tickets. And we're obsessed and fanatical about every touch point. And so, yes, we're involved from that. And then the DJs, the announcers, the hosts, everybody.
When you're in Savannah, you have total control over that. When you decided to take the show on the road, the decision that you made was we still have to have control over the entire experience,
which we
every
can't.
Touch point. And you did as much as you could in that.
100%. Yeah, it'll be fun for any of your viewers and listeners to stay tuned to episodes, I think 3, 4, and 5 of Banana Land, when we go to these different markets and stadiums and we give them the biggest crowds they've ever had. And they realize that it's not just like hundreds of people coming in. It's thousands in the first 20 minutes. They want a beer. They want ice cream. They want food. Pure chaos ensues. And then other stadiums where they told us what their number was for their crowd and it was dramatically lower. So we're taking down sponsor signs so people could see around the fence, around the field, because there wasn't, there's so much, but we learn so much. And I truly believe you got to get through the messy to get to the great. When we first did all you can eat here, Steve, the first night, it was a disaster. In Savannah, every ticket's all inclusive. All your burgers, hot dogs, chicken sandwiches, soda, water, popcorn, dessert. It was literally 2 to 3 hours for someone to get a burger. It was the worst experience you could ever have. Ever. But now with, 95% of our fans show up for every game, which redemption is unbelievable. And they come in, we had this last game on Saturday night. We had 3,000 people in the stadium in the first 30 minutes and they all went to eat and they all got fed within 5 minutes. Wow. So if you have a vision of what the best can be, you have to be willing to fight through it and persistence and have the grit to get through when it's bad if you believe that vision is better. And that's what we had to do with pretty much everyone on the road as well as here in Savannah.
An initial messy execution of a great idea often ends right there, right?
100%. Yeah. I went back and you have so many people, let's not do that again. We upset fans. But
you guys said, no, it's still a great idea. We just screwed up in how we implemented it. So let's fix it.
1,000%. Literally the first banana ball game we had was ridiculous. Like I said, walks were home runs. No one knew where to throw the ball. They throw the ball in the outfield. The outfield would throw it to the infield. The guy's just running around the bases. We're like, this is the dumbest rule you've ever seen. Now it might be the most exciting play in the game. And so you just learn. And I think that's what we've learned is one of our secret powers is that we do between 5 to 10 brand new things every single night on our field that has never happened before in a baseball field. And actually, I say 5 to 10. I've been saying that. So actually, Jesse, you always say 5 to 10 in interviews. Look at the green. And so on our script, green it's not quite ripe. We haven't done it before. So we're doing between 10 to 15 every night. And we've even had nights where we've done almost 20 things we've never done before. 18 of those 20 will fail miserably, but there might be 2 that's gold. And if you find that gold, you're going to get better faster than anyone else in the industry.
Don't your fans love to participate in the things that fail also?
Yeah, you either have a success or you have a story. And we have a lot of stories every night at our ballpark.
I'm just trying to imagine because I've yet to experience a Bananas game. Knowing the story, as I'm sure your fans do, to come to the show, to come to the game, knowing that you guys are trying new things all the time, I'm going to be on the lookout for new things that don't work because that would be special, right? Who lets their customers in on that kind of experience? I mean, every company tries things and screws up and there's like shame associated with it. But instead, you guys are saying, oh, we're going to try it. We're going to screw it up and we're going to have a great time in the process. And you're a part of it, fan.
Yes. And they get to see it. And I think people like to tell those stories of I was there when they tried to do this and it failed, like the living piñata. When we put a person in a costume and had kids with bats hit them and throw candy, that didn't go well. Or the first ever horse head race where we put kids in horse heads and we had them race around the infield, but we realized they couldn't see out of the horse head. So one ended up in right field, one went against a wall and then delayed the game for 5 minutes and they had no idea what they were doing. They love those ideas. We've done, there's ones every single night. And I think that's, for me, I'll be honest, I struggle with it and I need to take your mindset better. But I struggle with it because I want everything to be so good, and I watch, like when we just did Messy Baby the other day, we got 3 babies and we bought baby chairs and everything. We put a ton of food on there and we said, all right, go. And they just looked at the food. Not one baby touched it. It was the most boring promotion we've ever had. I didn't even know what to commentate. I was just sitting there. I was like, all right,
they're still not eating.
Go. Yes. I'm just hoping. I'm out there, waiting for it to dry. You have to embrace that. And I think you're right. As the fan, you just chuckle and laugh. And I think, get to your next at bat. And when you do so many things every night, I got to remember that they're not going to remember necessarily the last one. They're going to remember the next one.
But, Jesse, you're pointing out an interesting kind of a paradox in this whole experimentation thing, which is the reason you're so dedicated. Tell me if I'm wrong about this. You're so dedicated to that experimentation is because you have an exceptionally high standard. You want it to be a perfect experience, right? And that desire to create a perfect experience means that there's imperfection along the way. So you have to simultaneously have that high standard for perfection and the willingness to see it messy. So when you say, I look at it and I go like, yeah, it doesn't feel good, but that's the nature of the beast, right?
I've learned a lot from Grateful Dead and Dave Matthews Band. And I never got to listen to the Dead, but their business model of improvisation. And then the same thing with Dave Matthews Band and the fans. And, many bands, they have a new album and they go play the same songs over and over again at the same set list, the same times. To me, you aren't doing doing a disservice to your fans in that moment. And so, like, for instance, I realized I need to be the biggest fan of the Bananas. And if I'm ever bored for a moment, then I expect our fans will be bored. And so if I'm doing the same things, here comes Pie Your Dad, here comes the Dizzy Bat Race, all these normal things that people do, then I'm getting bored. The fans are getting bored.
Right.
Did you ever watch the Imagineering documentary on Disney Plus? It's fascinating. It's called Imagineering, I think. It's a 6-episode on Disney Plus. And it opens with literally showing Walt Disney walking the orange groves in Anaheim and saying, this is where I want Disneyland. And it shows how they built all their parks. And one of the Imagineers was interviewed, and he said, we want to create a ride. So when you go on it for the 20th time, you see something you never saw before. And I was fascinated by that.
Yeah.
And so what we try to create a show is that you got to come 20 times and you're seeing something brand new every single time. And I think that's true for businesses. You got to be able to consistently show up, but you also got to continue to say, what am I inventing to make a better experience for our fans? What am I innovating? What am I bringing to the table to get them to want to keep coming back for more?
Yeah. You mentioned the Grateful Dead. Let's just say I've seen more than one Dead concert.
I love it.
And the thing about them was, yes, every show is different. And some of them were terrible. I remember seeing the last time I saw the Dead was actually in Berkeley. And it was like watching Jerry Garcia and Bob Weir. They were like two old guys at a music store trying out the equipment. It was like they had different effects and all that. And I got bored. The point is that messiness sometimes it just doesn't come together. But you guys, it sounds like, you have such a strong framework that you can try new things and it's messy, but the entire experience is still going to be extraordinary.
Well, you play enough of your hits. I know Dave Matthews, you're going to get a few of their best jam songs, no matter what set it is. And no matter what you're going to get. So that brings it all together. And everybody's hoping for one great moment. So we know we're going to get an entire sold out crowd dancing Hey Baby. We know we're going to get the whole stadium singing off against each other. We know in the 7th inning, instead of take me out to the ball game, we're going to have every fan in the whole stadium take their phone out, put the flashlight on, and go back and forth as they sing Yellow by Coldplay, and the whole stadium singing Yellow. You're laughing at it, but it's actually that's actually like an emotional goosebump moment. You're laughing at our one like serious real moment. This is hilarious. You're laughing at the kumbaya of it, but I guess
my gosh, it's fantastic.
But those are the moments, and then people leave, and at the end of the night, no matter what, we could lose, it could be rain, we could play terrible. This happened organically at our One City World Tour. The band were playing for an hour, and they were exhausted, but fans wouldn't leave. So finally, the tuba player by himself started playing the opening beats to Stand By Me. And I remember as this happened in Mobile, Alabama, I actually took my phone out because I was blown away on what I was watching. All of a sudden, he started playing the opening beats to Stand By Me, and I watched the band, the players on both teams, the cast and fans put their arms around each other, and they started singing Stand By Me.
Wow.
And I was so blown away that now every night, that's our kiss goodnight. So after they play in the plaza for 30 plus minutes, all the players, they're signing autographs, a huge circle forms. Everyone puts their arms around each other, and we sing Stand By Me together. No matter what happens, no matter how many mistakes, no matter how many errors, no matter what happens, we come together at the end for that moment. You talk about love, there's a lot of love in that moment, and that's how you leave. You feel like you were a part of something. And so I know we're going to deliver that no matter what.
And that started as a spontaneous thing from the tuba player into being a ritual and a tradition.
Special moment, yeah.
So here's a couple of things I'm thinking. One is I would love that individual leaders would take this message to heart for themselves. In other words, if we could all adopt that mindset that brings that expectation of perfection and the willingness to screw it up in public so that everybody can see us screw it up and everybody can help us make it better and everybody can see that we all do this. We should all do this. We all screw up. That's part of being human. And so many leaders are concerned about appearing to be perfect because they're afraid it's going to affect their perception of competence.
So I spend most of my time on LinkedIn, and our team spend most of the time TikTok, YouTube, all the bananas. But I spend on LinkedIn, and it's as much for me. I write 5 times a week. I write just for clarity and lessons that I learn. I have a lens of learning, so I spend my time on there. One of the posts that got the most traction, hundreds of thousands of views, I shared. I've been fortunate like you to get the opportunity to speak all over the country in front of I don't pinch myself, billion-dollar companies, big crowds. I got hired by a college to speak at their college, and this was right after COVID. And they rented out, they gave me the entire auditorium. And this is a huge auditorium, 1,500, 2,000 people in the auditorium. Right. And it's my time to speak. And the host comes, we're going to give it a little more time for a few more people to come. And I go, well, it's okay. He's like, no, we're going to give it a little bit more time. So he gave it 10 more minutes. He goes, I guess we got to go. He goes, I'm so sorry. And he apologized to me. And I looked out and I saw it. I go, can you do me a favor? Can you take pictures for me while I'm on stage with this crowd? And he took pictures. Steve, there were 27 people in the auditorium, and it was a 2,000 seat auditorium. And I gave my full speech. I gave full energy. I had dancing. I had singing like I have in every single show. I went all out. And the 27 people, I hope they had a good time. I shared that on LinkedIn the next day. And I shared the picture of nobody there. And for all the speakers, people I get in front, they were so appreciative of that. And I shared the lessons that I learned. I go, every game is someone's first game is what we tell ourselves here at the Bananas. 27 people that might have been the first time hearing that story. You could have made an impact with one person. How do you treat that? And you got to be willing as a leader to share, hey, everyone's posturing. I'm speaking in front of millions of people. I'm doing this. I got a bestseller book. Well, you got a bestseller in a weird category. That's like the weirdest category ever. And it's for one day. Let's be honest. So anyways, everyone postures. Show the things that don't go well. I'm very intentional. When I see something that didn't go well, I want to show it because that's where people can learn the most. You learn more from those experiences, but leaders aren't willing enough to share that because they feel that they have to be at this level. The greatest leaders share the challenges and the adversity.
Your LinkedIn presence and posts are phenomenal. So what I'm hearing you say is that you're actually writing those posts, you personally.
I write every single post on LinkedIn.
So that was actually a question that I had for you because I'm reading your stuff pretty much every day and thinking, wow, is he doing this? Or either he's doing this or he's he's got like a really great ghostwriter writing this shit for him. But so folks, if you're not following Jesse on LinkedIn, you have to. This is the word that kept coming up for me as I look at your stuff. It's generous. You're very generous with what you're learning, generous with your experience, and we all benefit from it. I mean, it really is pretty extraordinary and makes me feel deeply deficient in many ways.
well, I don't see that. You got a bunch of books behind you, my friend, but how you view things is how you do things. And I think the reality is, I view everything as a learning experience. And so when I will see something like, something in the party animals locker room or something out here in the field, I have a lens to see what is the lesson that I learned from that I can share with others that will help me. And the more, great leaders are repeaters. They share the thing same old way. Like I see a lens in certain ways I probably want to see it. That's teaching. That's also helping me be more firm in my beliefs, which then helps spread and is more contagious. The best thing I see, Steve, and I think great leaders, great organizations, if they hear other people on their staff do an interview or do a post or do something, and they hear the same things that they preach, it's amazing. Emily called me the other day and she goes, Jesse, you have to listen to Coach Gillum, Tyler's podcast. She goes, I thought it was you. He was literally saying, whatever's normal, do the exact opposite. We have to get attention. We have to get their eyes and the ears before we get their hearts. And I'm like, Jesse, he's like, literally, it was you. I think he even said how you view things is how you do things. I was blown away. And so he's hearing it, he's seeing it, he's learning it. It's like, that's great if you're all on the same page and the same path, most importantly.
Yeah, for sure. Speaking of social media, your social media team, particularly the ones that are handling TikTok and the videos on TikTok, are exceptional.
Thank you.
I mean, they are really, the last time we talked, I asked you, where should people go to find out about the Savannah Bananas and see some of what you do? And you had the website and all that, and which was great. But TikTok captures the essence and highlights the players and does it in such a creative way, and tapping into all like the trending stuff. And I mean, hilarious, just hilarious stuff. So your team, when most people think about a baseball team, they think of the baseball team. Your team is, again, touching every part of the experience, including how you guys present yourself to the world and the experience that you give to people, whether or not they're actually sitting at the stadium watching a game. And you're all pretty young, with a couple of exceptions.
Well, I'm the oldest at 38.
Yeah, and then you've got a couple of older players, right? You've got...
Well, Bill Lee, yes. We have a 75-year-old Red Sox Hall of Famer who's doing great and will continue to pitch for us in the future. But yes, we are a very young staff. And, that the episode 1 of Banana Land that premiered on ESPN2, he said, Kara, our marketing director, said, we're just a bunch of kids running a baseball team. And that's really cool. And in essence, it is. But I think to answer your non-question there, I would go into the point that I think it takes a lot to have a process to creativity. You need to have constraints to foster creativity. And I had our whole entire young marketing video team watch the Saturday Night Live documentary on how they go from Monday pitch session to Saturday, a complete live show. And we developed our own Bananas creative. Literally on Mondays, we have our OTT meetings, over the top ideas. What are we going to do as far as scoring celebration, hitter walk-ups, trick pitches, all of that. 3-2-2 is our crazy dance in the middle of the game that gets lots of traction. What are we going to do there? Oh my God, they're doing some crazy things in front of me right now, which is just wow. They're actually practicing things in front of me right now.
Can you describe what you're seeing?
Yes, they're doing. So one guy is on top of another guy. I think they're trying to do a hitting entrance, but they want to get like a coat over him. So it's like a really tall guy, and then it comes out and there's a guy underneath him. I don't understand it. We'll see what they're trying to do. Our practices are very different, but we do rehearsals. So we have at 2:00 on game days, we have our entertainment meeting, and then we have an hour and a half of rehearsals before we even take batting practice. So it's very heavy on the entertainment, but we have table reads, we do script ideas, we do a live rehearsal in front of a VIP group where we watch how they react to see, should we change this? Are they putting up their cameras, their phones to videotape? Are they laughing, or are they not into it? And we make adjustments. It's very Saturday Night Live. And I think you need to have a process based on ideas. I mean, Steve, I don't know about you, but I don't think companies and businesses spend enough time consciously, deliberately focusing on ideas.
Right. Totally agree. And let's not forget that amongst all of that, these guys are damn good ball players.
That's the surprise.
It really is. I mean, first of all, having the vision that you could take that entertainment and athleticism and put it together is one thing, but then to actually execute on it and find those people that can fill those roles is amazing. My favorite moment in that first episode of Banana Land, and tell me if I was perceiving this accurately, because it's hard to tell when things are edited and all that, was after the team. So you go through the whole process of selecting the team, people coming for auditions, basically.
Yes.
And you select the final team, and you have the final team together, and Coach Byrne is given a pep talk to the new team, and he says, let's just remember, none of us, we're all expendable.
We're all replaceable.
We're all replaceable, myself included. And you looked at him, and he said, why are you looking at me? And you said something like, yeah, but they all just made the team.
I'm proud of these guys.
I'm proud of these guys. So there was that little kind of dynamic tension that says, well, I don't think this is the time to tell them they're replaceable when they just made the team. Did I perceive that?
100%. I mean, me and Burns, I love him. He's crazy. But there was a lot of unique interactions between us because I was very focused. These guys just made the team. They traveled it all over the country. And I want to celebrate that and embrace that. And he opens with, you're all replaceable. I was shocked. So I was looking at him and he caught it. He's like, why you look at me? And I was like, I'm proud of these guys. They just made the team. He goes, yeah, I understand. We're climbing a mountain, Jesse. I go, I get it. Let's get to that later. But you never know with a character like him what he's going to say. But you know where the heart is. And so that's the interactions between me and him throughout the show is very strong. And it's a lot of fun to watch.
That's great. He reminds me of it's like everybody's got that one friend who always has that crazy look in their eye that's willing to do absolutely anything, and you never really know what's going to happen next. Very relatable on that level. I mean, all the guys
scares me considerably with what again, Walt Disney, anybody they want to have control over the experience, and it's like I'm very worried and nervous. What is Burnsy going to do? So that was part of a learning experience for me.
When you sit back, I mean, this is similar to the question I asked you at the end of our last conversation together. As you sit back, I mean, given everything that's happening now, this has been my experience. When I ask people if they've heard of the Savannah Bananas, it used to be, no, who's that? And as time goes on, it's like, yeah, I've seen them on TikTok, or yeah, I have. And then there's still a few people that say, well, yeah, it sounds familiar. I'm not quite sure. And what I've been telling people is, mark my words, these guys will be a household name. They will be a household name. And I have no doubt about that from the outside looking in. I mean, especially given, and this was before, you guys took it on the road and before the Banana Land show and all of that. So from the outside looking in, that seems pretty obvious to me. So 2 questions. One is, in the midst of all of this, do you ever look around at the full stadium, at the craziness that's happening on the field, the way people are responding to it? Do you ever ask yourself, what the hell happened? How the hell did we get here?
I think in a different frame, yes.
What is the frame?
On April 1st, we went to West Palm. We played at the Major League Spring Training home of the Astros and the Nationals. And so this was an 8,000 seat stadium, and the Astros were still in town. So they played the day game. So Altuve, Bregman, all these guys, stars, were in the lineup. They drew 1,000 fans for the game. That night, we drew 8,000. It was the largest crowd the stadium ever had, and 7,000 more than the Astros. My dad came down for that trip, and after the game, I go, I can't believe what we just did. And then when we played in Kansas City, and we sold 10,000 tickets in 16 minutes, and the fans actually rushed the gates early. And it was a mob scene. It was like straight out of a crazy concert. Kind of scary, to be honest with you. And then the end of the night, it was one of the best games finishes. Every fan stayed till the end, and fans stayed for an hour and a half, didn't want to leave. My dad was there too. And I hugged him and got emotional. They had the cameras on me, of course. So I get emotional because the first question ESPN asked, is your dad proud of you? Like, come on, you got to go there, because I'm still just that kid trying to make my dad proud. But, and I see myself as kid who was bat boy for the Red Sox when I was 5 years old. And I shared the dream to sell at Fenway Park. I see in a couple of years taking my dad on the field and looking around and say, Dad, look what we just did. And that fires me up because I had a dream of playing professional baseball, but what we're doing, I think, makes a much, much bigger impact.
So there's no question. How could he not be proud of you? How has he expressed that to you? Has he said, I'm proud of you, son? Or what are some of the words that he's shared with you in response to all of this?
He says that now. It's so funny. My parents were divorced. I was an only child. My father fought to get custody of me because custody didn't really go to the mothers, but my mother had some serious challenges. And he never used the word love, which was really interesting. It wasn't part of his vocabulary. I mean, we had a bond. It was huge. It was baseball. We were together all the time. It was me and him. Now that comes out a lot. So now I hear that probably almost every conversation. After a game, if he's not here, I call him. So after I do our walk with our director of entertainment on how we can plus the show, I do laps around the field. And then I call my dad. Usually says, "I love you, Jesse. It was special." And so it's it comes down to, all about love. And I think all of us, if you can really channel that to be an emotion that drives you in a good way, and not to change everything you do for it, but to appreciate it, to embrace it, and to enjoy it. And I really embrace that love from him every day.
That's wonderful. You're a family within a family. I mean, you and Emily and your son Maverick is what, 3 or 4 now?
He's 4, and we have 2 foster daughters.
Two foster daughters.
Yeah.
It's beautiful how you're giving that example of what's possible with a family in new ways, and being a part of the business together at the same time is a remarkable thing. So as you take the second and last question, as you take that love that you have for the whole enterprise and for the people in it, told us before about the 3 loves is love the fans, but love the people first and love yourself most of all. As you project that to the future, given where you are now, what you've seen you can accomplish, what does that canvas look like for the future of the Bananas and yourself in it?
I was just thinking about how the show starts about this is a love story. This is a love story, love for the fans, love for the players, love for the game. I don't think of a canvas. It's weird. When you think of a canvas, I actually think that's too small.
So it's kind of static.
Yeah, a canvas is static. I think, I've learned a lot from Michael Jackson. Ironically, I'm saying him now. I read one of his books, and they said he always wanted to study the greats and become greater. And, I think about, studying what some of the greats are doing and what they've done. And I don't think they had a static view of what they could do. I think what I learned from them is they just loved their art. They loved their performance. They loved what they got to do every day. And they had this obsession for it that every day they worked on getting better and better. Every day I am obsessed with creating the greatest show and the greatest fan experience. And so what happens is that's opening up doors I never imagined. I mean, for the Hall of Fame to call us, for major league teams to call us, I believe we're going to play all over the world in places you never imagined playing. I mean, I've got calls about playing on an aircraft carrier. I've got calls about playing in different countries. And I think we're going to embrace those, because I know at the end of the night to have, whatever's left at the end of the game, a couple hundred fans with their arms around each other and our staff singing "Stand By Me." I want everyone to feel that moment, to feel like they're a part of something and they just saw something they never saw before in their world.
You're being inundated today, this day that we're speaking, with interview requests from all over hell and back. What is that all about?
So, yeah, I mean, we've obviously got a lot of announcements coming up, but in regards to our show, our future, our world tour. But yes, we just announced that we are going all in on Banana Ball. So we had 2 teams. We used to have a college summer team that started it for us. And so we announced today as we speak that we just are all in on Banana Ball. We're no longer playing collegiate summer baseball, which is a huge risk on so many levels. Again, it doesn't make financial sense. We're going from, you can't pay college guys to having $1 million plus, payroll for players, but it's all on create long-term fans. And so now we can play in front of, I believe soon to be over 1 million fans in 1 year, which is more than any NFL team, NBA team, NHL team. And I believe we're going to be doing that. And that gives us now the freedom to bring Banana Ball all over the world. Okay,
good. That sets us up for the next interview in 2 years from today to see. I have no doubt that that's going to happen. And man, what an exciting ride. Jesse, listen, man, you are such an inspiration to, not only to me personally, but to so many people, not only because of the obvious reasons for what you guys are doing with the experience of baseball and making it fun. I get that. And you've said before, you're not in the business of baseball, you're in the entertainment business. I get that too. But it really is a love story. And the overriding experience that I have when I watch you guys on social media, when I watch the show, when I watch a game, which games are now broadcast on ESPN, and when I talk to you, is joyfulness. It's joy. It's the pure joy of being and doing great things for the people around you. Man, that is, in this day and age, it's always been important, but it's more important than it's ever been. And yellow is such a great color because it's the color of the sun, not just the color of a banana, which is
it's bright. It's definitely bright.
It's definitely bright. And we all need that. So Jesse, The classic last question is, what's the best way for people to connect with you and with the bananas? TikTok, obviously. LinkedIn, obviously.
If you search Yellow Tux, you'll find me. I'm easy to find. If you search the bananas, we're easy to find. But yeah, we're investing a lot of time and energy to continue to put out good things in the world, things that make people laugh, things that bring joy. And so every day, we're never going to stop doing that.
And of course, Fans First, the book Fans First is a must read. And I saw, by the way, your incredible distribution strategy of selling it in the smallest bookstore in the world.
The world's smallest bookstore. We found an old closet here at the stadium. So it can maximum occupancy of just one. So I think it's got the most sales per square foot of any store in the world. I hope so.
You're probably selling more books in that closet than most people are selling at Barnes and Noble or around the world. So Jesse, thank you so much. I know you're in high demand. So I'm gonna let you go. But folks, thanks for tuning in. And until next time, do what you love in the service of people who love what you do. See you later.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Love is Just Damn Good Business with Steve Farber. Join us again next time, because when customer and employee satisfaction just isn't enough anymore, we are here to back you up with specific ideas to operationalize love to make an enormous difference in your business, personal life, and the world around you. Visit our website at stevefarber.com to leave a review. And don't forget to share the love with your colleagues and friends, because after all, it's just damn good business.